Enjoy the rest of your week. And don't step in
Thank you, Professor.
any July snowmen. Okay, you're welcome.
Professor, I have a quick question about, I don't know if I should direct this to Kristen or you, but I have a question about a grade inquiry I made.
Yeah, hold on. Let's not talk about the grade inquiry unless you're good with having it discussed. But
Yeah,
I'd prefer to do that privately.
No, it's not a huge one, so it's not a big deal for me to discuss.
Okay.
So on the previous lab, so lab 7, so I received a 2.5 out of 3, which obviously isn't bad, but the reason I got half a point off was because they said I didn't include all 4 of the test cases, and if I remember correctly, that was you had the 3 programs you had to find as the Easter eggs, and you also had the separate test case that you had to receive from a TA.
Yeah.
And when I joined office hours to ask about the Easter egg because I hadn't received it in class because the TA wasn't around to give us them. So I asked about it, and the TA in office hours said they had no idea what that was, and they said not to include it because I shouldn't have to worry about it. And then I got points off for it.
Okay, so talk to the TA. If that's what they told you, they have every ability to give you the points back.
Okay. I submitted a grade inquiry. So hopefully.
Yeah, that should go.
I remember.
Yeah, that should go to the TA as well as to everybody else. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. If it doesn't work out that way, then reach out to Professor Mustacher or myself, or CS1 instructors, I guess is the best way to do it at that point.
All right.
And we'll take a look at it. But the TA should, if they told you something, they should be very capable of. They certainly have the authority to change the grade.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Hi.
Hello,
Professor. Yeah, you can go first. My question's a little longer.
Okay. I have a question about the homework.
Okay.
So for the first checkpoint, for the drop, like, can you explain what does it mean, like, exactly, like, to like drop a single letter?
Okay. So let's look at what's in the chat. Okay, because I'm gonna type some stuff there. So let's say we have. We have the word. Come on. Okay, so the chat's not working. Oh, that's because I don't have everybody selected. Send it to everyone. Okay, so we have this this word electron, right? And that's supposed to be the word, electron. So this is the correct spelling of it, right? So what we want to do is we want you to go through and generate this word, right? You drop the first E, then you put the E back, and you generate, right? So you put the E back, you come up to this, to the first word, ELLECTRON, and you drop that first L, and that gives you a valid word, right? And then now you put that L back, right? And you drop the second L, and you get electron again, right? So that's, one of those is, you shouldn't be putting the same word multiple times. You shouldn't report the same word multiple times, but that you can certainly generate it using some of these rules, right? So now you've dropped the second L, and now, we'll go ELL. Well, we'll drop the first E. And that'll give us that word. Now we'll put that E back and drop the C. and now put the C back and drop the T. Now put the T back and drop the R, right? Then put the R back and drop the O. And then put the O back and drop the N. And that should be the sequence of words you get as your test word by dropping every letter in sequence from the word. Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Somebody else?
So Professor Turner, my question might be a bit of a stretch, and I understand if we have to talk about it independently, but it's nothing personal or anything. I'm just used to coding in Java, and in Java, we have like something like, I know in Python we have self, and in Java we have this.
Mhm.
The thing that confuses me in Python is I would share my screen, or let me try at least. I'm still on the mic, but I'm gonna try copying and pasting what I have open right now in my I think this was on. Can I paste in the chat a program that is written on my computer, like I copy and paste it? Am I allowed to do that?
Send it to me. Send it just to me, though. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is just Java. I don't know if it's, yeah. So like in Java, you have something along this line which I just sent you.
Mhm.
And my question is, in Python, where you see like public rectangle, where you see the public rectangle parts, John was telling me, TA John Slowick was telling me that in Python you're only going to need one, and if you initialize it, like if you were to say L equals 5, for example, and W equals 4, that will be the initial constructor, and you could change it afterwards. Is that, like, how does it work in Python? That's
Yeah, that's how it works.
That's what?
That's how it works. Yeah.
That concept is kind of like, so you don't have to do like multiple like rectangles in like as I'm showing you here. In Java you do, but you don't have to do it in Python.
Well, you don't have to do it in. Yeah. So what happens with yeah. So let me kind of come down into here. So when you define a function, let's go to our initialization function. Let's do it for point 2D though. Okay. So this, right, when we have this form for the initialization function, right, this is essentially those rectangles you have are different initializers with 2, 1, or 0
Parameters, yes.
parameters, right? So
Yes.
when you do this for in Python, having defined this point2D function, we can create a point. Let's say P1 equals point 2D, right? If we don't have these equals are default values if the parameter isn't there. Okay? So you know, this would be point 2D 4, 5, right? And that would take two parameters and generate right a point with two parameters, right?
Okay.
If we want to give it one parameter, right? Now we're giving it the x value, but we're omitting the y value. That will give us, I should have done 0.2. That's okay. It'll give us the default value for the second parameter and the actual value for the first parameter. And then we can do this again and do omit both of the parameters, and then both of these default values come into play.
Okay. Okay. So that makes sense. When you're saying print, when you're printing the string version, is that because of the toString it's printing? Is that how you made it in the toString?
Yeah. So when we come down here to the string function, right? This string function, right? That gets translated into this string operator, into this string, multi-purpose, this is defined on all the classes.
Okay.
So this says when you hit this operator, execute for a point, execute this code. And all that does is create a string, right?
Okay.
That's just a format specifier with 2 parentheses and a comma, right? So it's open parentheses, default format specifier, comma, default format specifier, end parentheses, double quote, and then our format command to put X and Y into there. Right? So, and then this whole thing just evaluates into a string with self.x here and self.y here. All right? And that's what you're seeing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's kind of like your toString, or exactly like your toString in Java, right?
I am not a big Java guy. Let me see. It's analogous. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yes, that's the same thing. It takes the class and turns it into a string that can be printed. Yeah.
Okay. And then why do you keep putting self? Do you need to keep putting that? Because that's kind of like Java's this, but we don't keep putting this in the word this in Java. Do you need to keep putting the word self, or could you have an empty parameter?
No, if you need to keep using self. So for Java, so for Java, that's the compiler's handling that for you. So when it sees a variable in there, it's translating that over. Right, it looks for this. You can use it, right? Well, you don't have to have it in the parameter list. So
Yes.
it's implied, but in Python, it's not implied. You actually have to put it in.
Okay, so you have to keep putting. Yes, I know what you're talking about. In
Yeah.
Java, you can use the word this as well, and
Right.
it's implied if you don't use it. But in Python, you have to keep using the word self. Correct?
Yep, exactly. Well, you have to. We tell you to use the word self. To be technical, you can make this say whatever you want it to say as long as you use it consistently. But self is by tradition or custom. Self is what's
Okay, but
used.
universal.
Yeah,
Okay,
so-
universal meaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's it for now, Professor Turner. If I do have any questions, I will either put them in that thing called the
Discussion
the
forum.
discussion forum,
Yep.
or I will come to your office hours. I think that's it for now.
All right.
Thank you, and I'm going to
Thanks,
get
Sid.
started on tonight. Not tonight's homework, but the homework due next week.
Good. I'd like to hear that.
And the TAs are available tonight as well, correct?
They are. It would be a good time to go because they're not going to be really busy.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Anyone else?
I have a question about exercise 2.
Okay. On this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
for the last part where you're sorting each restaurant alphabetically, I found a way to do it really easily in the official Python documentation, but I'm not sure if we can use it because there's a concept that we haven't learned yet.
Are you talking about sorting keys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they do specifically here, since we're accessing an attribute in a class, they use lambda in the key,
Yeah.
in the example they give.
So the only issue is that it's really not necessary. If you just walk through in a little loop, it will work. I don't think we'll deduct any point. Provided you you can run it on submitting and it'll tell you whether you're hitting all the stuff that we asked you to hit. I don't know that there was anything. Hold on just a second. Let me bring up submitting.